Mother, Father, higher self, angels and guides, universal energy, God source energy, the entire company of heaven, all of our guides and masters, Reiki masters, north, south, east and west, past and present. Hear our call tonight as we sit here again and gather in your name of the Starlight Study Group with our beautiful guests this evening to help raise our vibration. Whoever is available, would you open your energies to adjustments if needed by Spirit? Do we have your permission? You gotta say yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right, Spirit. Thank you for this beautiful gathering this evening. Help us to understand, and please again speak loudly to His guidance so that we may hear you better with great gratitude. Amen. Okay.
Amen. Amen. Seems like a good way to begin. I am so grateful that you wanted to know more about the cosmic clock and the soul's journey. So, because there's a lot to cover, it's easier to give you handouts so that you can review at a later date. Because there's no way they're going to remember everything we covered tonight. But let us start with the diagram of the cosmic clock. Now, wouldn't you like to know where this came from? How this got started?
Yes.
Shaking your head with me, let's go about this. This is a teaching of Mother Mary. And I have a childhood that was blessed with a mother who was a seeker of truth. And she was really like a blank canvas when she met my dad. And she didn't have religion, and he was Catholic, so she converted to Catholicism. 21 years later, they divorced, and the church tells her she can't receive sacraments, and she's excommunicated. And she went, well, I didn't have religion before. If I don't have it now, it might not be a problem. And she was okay with it. Because she said, I didn't like the fear, and I didn't like the judgment, especially the self-judgment. She was having a hard time with that. So she found in the newspaper an advertisement that Elizabeth Clare Prophet was going to come and speak at Cobo Hall in Detroit. She said, well, we got to check that one out. She went down there, she listened, and she was hearing truth. And she was feeling love, and she said they don't have all that judgment and fear in their teachings. And so they had a table in the back of the room, and it had books on it. She buys all the books, she brings them home, she starts reading them, and she starts going, you gotta hear this one. This is so much better than what we've been hearing in where we've been. So she never looked back. And what she did do was follow the teachings of the Ascended Masters. And Summit Lighthouse was her connection originally. And she spent 3 months at, I guess they call it a summer course, where you go and you live there. And what they were studying was the soul's journey, called the Cosmic Clock, which is a teaching given to Elizabeth Clare Prophet by Mother Mary. So she didn't take any credit for it. And if you look at the PowerPoint, and if I put these on, I'll see it better. It talks about on the first page of your PowerPoint, so you don't have to remember everything. You've got 4 pages of graphics, and then you have your PowerPoint. And on the PowerPoint, it talks about this being a teaching that was given to Elizabeth by Mother Mary. And so I call that to your attention, so it'll give it more credibility. You'll know where it came from. Now, the first thing that Mother did when she got home from those 3 months of being gone is she said, I can't wait to teach you the cosmic clock. And I said, oh. So she pulls out fabric, and she's drawn this cosmic clock on fabric. And I'm going, oh, that is so my mother. She was a seamstress. And she said, she didn't want to put it on paper because it doesn't last, fabric lasts. I still have the fabric today, I'll show it to you in a little bit. But the cosmic clock starts with the all, and the circle represents the all. So the first graphic you're gonna see on this page, do you guys even have that page? Did I give you this first page? Good, you got it. I never know. I loved it when Dee Dee sent me a text and said, do you have page numbers on your pages? I must not have one time.
It would help.
Yeah, it would help. I remember one time in class, we were having trouble because there were no pages. So what we're looking at is the undifferentiated whole. We're looking at the white fire core of being, the hallowed circle of the ah, ooh, Now this version of Om is alpha unto omega. And the U in the middle stands for you and me, stands for us, humanity. And we have that as our foundation. One thing I love about a circle is you can't really tell if it begins here or there or over here. So you have to be able to be open and embracing. And I think that's a good teaching for our generation. Now the second figure is the polarity. That's where we are right now. We're in duality and polarity when we come into 3D. And so what I love about the Tai Chi is, see the dot in the center of the blue, see the dot in the center of the white, and see the figure 8 in there. This represents flow. And we're gonna unpack the flow and take a good look at how that's relevant to us. And then figure 3, and this is exactly how she came home with these diagrams on fabric. And she'd drawn them. And she's pointing out now, this is the whole, and it divides into the Tai Chi, the yin and the yang. The yin is the feminine, the yang is the masculine. And I'm going, yawning. And then we get to figure 3, and she said, now, this side is the alpha thrust of the circle, and this side is the omega return. And I got kind of curious, what is that all about? And so she said to me, we have to garner enough energy as we go through the alpha thrust to make it all the way back through the omega. Well, I was hooked at that point. I'm like, and how does that work? So let's take a look. The presumption that we're working with here today is that God is not separate from us. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
We are the divine. We're just at a masquerade ball. We're wearing costumes. We look different, but we're really part of the same oneness. So Father, Mother, God is represented. Alpha represents the divine masculine. Omega represents the divine feminine. And she said, these are real people. And I said, on earth? She said, everywhere. The going out and the coming in of the cycles of alpha and omega. And it's the breath that is the in-breath and the out-breath. You've heard of that? In-breath and the out-breath. So the alpha is the out-breath. And the omega is the in-breath. So you're welcome to write on these, because all you have to do is say, email me a digital copy and we can do a digital copy. So the importance of the alpha and the omega, that's who we are. We are alpha and omega. We are divine masculine and feminine. Now the next thing she explained to me is, now we're going to look at the soul's journey. And the soul is the feminine and the spirit is the masculine. So it was important for me to know that alpha represented the yang and the masculine, divine masculine, and the omega represented the divine feminine. And she said the omega thrust, after the alpha thrust, the omega return, is always to bring us home. And that's where we are now. We're in the omega thrust. If you look at cycles within cycles within cycles, because there's a cycle for the day you were born. You can chart what's going on in terms of expansion, in terms of what's important to master. It's really exciting to have a concept that is telling us if you're gonna put your energies anywhere, here's a good guideline to put your energies. These are the very qualities that you get to take with you when you leave. Consciousness, expanding our consciousness. Nothing else are we gonna take with us. We won't take our personality. We
Just
won't.
our memories.
The soul will hold the memories already there. So the soul and the spirit are nicely connected, so the memories go, you're absolutely right. Now, there's a whole workshop on changing the past, using the violet flame and going into the Akashic record and changing it so that we clean up any memories that don't serve us. So I just had to do that little aside. That's in a box over on the side. Now, this is who we are in expression. If you look at the middle, God is an impersonal impersonality. It's an impersonal personality. It is a personal personality, and it's a personal impersonality. And I laughed, and I said to her, split personality. God is a split personality. And she said, no, God's one. This is you in creation, expressing the divine. You are these aspects of the divine. So this is the alchemical nature of our God consciousness. And then if you look at how it's divided into, notice how we've got white, yellow, pink, and blue. And the reason for that is because they represent, the white represents, I guess we should look at the next chart down so it'll be concrete for you. If you look at Holy Spirit in pink, that's the divine feminine. And then you've got Father in blue, that's the power and faith of the divine. And then you've got the Son in the yellow, which is the offspring or the outward manifestation of feminine and masculine, the pink and the blue. Now, it says in figure 5, the trinity of our being. So the two, Alpha and Omega, unpack or break out into 3. And the 3 is the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and then the consciousness of the Christ, or the sons and daughters of the divine. And so the creator, the preserver, and the destroyer, or in Hindu, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, or in the Catholic Church where I grew up, it was Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Now, I think Son is sexist. It should say sons and daughters in that. Today, if we were doing this chart, but this was in the early 70s when Mother went to Summit University. But look what we've got when we square the circle. Look at number 6. And this is just a good foundation where you've got the Father in the blue, you've got the Holy Spirit in the pink, we've got the Son, and at least there's 2 places, the white and the yellow, for the Son. So the squaring of the circle, the 3 become 4 through the mother. It takes the mother to square the circle, the divine feminine, to bring in the squaring of the circle. Even though Holy Spirit is feminine and represents the feminine energy, but when the circle got squared, we brought in the Divine Mother and separate. Now, these are patterns that subconsciously we respond to. If you look at, and I'm going to ask you to take page 3 when we get to page 3, and put this up on your wall, because I could take just this one page 3, and we'd have it down, what the cosmic clock is, what the soul's journey is. But I'm going to bring you to that point. So that's a favorite page of mine, is page 3. Now, if you look at figure 7 on page 2, we're gonna identify the frequency or the energies of the squared circle. So I'm looking at this one right here. Oh, you're right, it doesn't have a 2 on it. Put a 2 on the bottom of the next page. It should look like this. And that's your second page of the graphics. Now, the first thing we need to do is understand that nature or the elements are what we're made of. And it's what we live in is nature. So let's look at the 4 elements that will correspond to our 4 lower bodies. You're familiar with the 4 lower bodies. Anybody want to guess what the 4 lower bodies are? Well, the physical would be 1, the mental and emotional would be 2 and 3, and then the memory would be 4. Those are our 4 lower bodies. Those are the vehicles that the soul is using for mastery. And the soul's journey is about mastering energy when it comes into the third, to where we are in duality and polarity. So the 4 elements are fire, element in the white. Air is the mental body, that's the air element. Then we go to the water element for the emotional. And then we're going to do the blue one, which would be, which one is left? Fire, air, water, earth. Earth. The power of the earth, Mother Earth. Now, I know you can't read these things that I scribbled around the edge of it, but my mom was teaching me to say, I am light, looking at the white, radiant light, intensified light. We were moving around the circle, identifying with the divine as light. And so there's a whole 3 verses that goes with this, that I would go around the circle and identify with my essence being light, and would express it and say it. But over the years, because this was in 1970, that's a pretty long time ago. I was in my 20s maybe. Now, look at figure 8. Our job, one of the things that we are doing, that we agreed to do, was to balance the threefold plane in each of the 4 quadrants. So let's talk a minute about the threefold plane. Anybody have a clue about, have you heard of the threefold plane before? Very good. No? The threefold plane is your divinity anchored in your heart. It's anchored on the very back of your heart in your etheric body. The finest of the 4 bodies is the memory body, or the etheric. So now you'll understand why this picture goes blue for power, pink for love, and yellow for wisdom. And now in the next quadrant, it repeats in each of the 4 quadrants. Power, love, wisdom. Power, love, wisdom. My mom got so comfortable with this that she would organize her day according to whether it was power activity or a love activity or a wisdom activity. And I went, overload. But she could do that. But then she spent 3 months studying this. So then now, here's where rubber meets the road. Look at figure number 9. We have teachers and mentors to make sure that we accomplish the soul's goal, the soul's journey. So we are working through the astrological signs, but those signs represent an energy, a consciousness. I never knew that until someone was, looking at the clock with me, and I went, oh, I've heard of those in astrology. But they really are consciousness, and they are. And so the 12 solar hierarchies focus the mastery of the Trinity. Trinity is love, wisdom, and power. That is our divine spark. That's our nature, our essence. And it's in each of the 4 quadrants of our being. And the 4 quadrants of our being would be the physical, the mental, the emotional, memory. Those are the 4 quadrants. So let's take a look at how it's done. In the 12 o'clock line of the cosmic clock, you've got God power is the divine quality that your soul has determined to master. It moves to, and that's the power, wouldn't you say 12? Because we're going clockwise, so 12 to 1 is power. And then 1 to 2 is love, but it's divine love. It's God love. And then 3 is we're moving to God mastery. And then if you'll pick it up at the next one and tell us, and we'll go around the room, and you identify. I love these phones. They keep us connected. So if you'll go around and we'll identify, the journey of the soul is to master these divine qualities. And I said, wow, I never knew. So that's why I'm here. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So we're on line number 3.
What did you mean?
Just tell us what power we're mastering or what quality, divine quality on God number 3. Because you're going to get tired of hearing my voice. Second page. Got it. Now, look at down here, number 3. Everybody with me at the bottom? We're on figure, yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah,
Control?
God control. And I went, oh, I like that one. I was real excited to be mastering control. But then when I learned it was control of my emotions and control of my energy, my excitement kind of waned a little. And then, what's the 4th one?
God obedience.
Good. And then,
God wisdom.
and then, very good. And then,
God gratitude.
and then,
God justice.
and then,
God reality.
and then,
God vision.
and then.
Victory.
How complete we are. If you don't know that that's why you're here, that this is the soul's journey, and that you're really here for the benefit of bringing heaven to earth, that's the soul's job, is to express the divinity in the finite. And so, and then as we master these qualities, we can resonate with what's in the macrocosm, coming from the microcosm that we're in now. So the God consciousness or God qualities of the solar hierarchies. So now let's match the 2 charts. Let's look at 6 and look at, 9 and 10. We've got Capricorn is the constellation that will help us master God power. Aquarius helps us master God love. And then Pisces, mastering God, together, mastery, God mastery. Aries, together. What is Aries helping us master? God control. And so it's good to match these, and we're going to do it for you in the next chart or the next figure. But I thought that was so helpful because it gave me a sense of, what do I want to put my energy into? Do I really want to party and enjoy the good life? But that doesn't go with me when I leave. I don't get any kind of a pass. Yes, I do.
I have to say I'm very excited because we were having a discussion about whether I was Leo Virgo, and I said I'm on the cusp. Well, looking at this, it makes perfect sense because Leo is number 7. It's working towards Virgo number 8. So I'm God gratitude working towards God justice.
I love it.
Now this is why I'm Leo, but I feel like Virgo because I'm going that way.
And if you're on the cusp, you're both.
Okay.
You have taken on as a soul, double duty. This is really important. When people come in on the cusp, they are to be honored because they have said, put me in, coach, I want to play. I want to play both bases. So now, let's look at them put together. The mentors that are working with us in mastering these qualities or these energies are identified on figure 11. The ascended masters of the Great White Brotherhood who initiate Earth's evolution in guide consciousness of the 12 solar hierarchies. So now, this is my favorite chart. I keep this one laminated. So, and it's in my closet because my closet is well lit. And I can kind of refer. I can see when the month, I'm Virgo, September 7th is my birthday. And so the way that this applies to each one of us that makes it relevant is we will put our birthday on the 12 o'clock line. And so every year when our birthday comes, we're working on that divine quality. And then the second month of the year, we're working on the second divine quality. So we always start at the 12 o'clock line, and there's cycles within cycles within cycles. So the first cycle that I learned to work with was the cycle of the year, the 1 year, which had 12 months in it, and I would put a month on each line of the clock, and then I would know who was mentoring me that month. Saint Germain is on the 1 o'clock line, and he would be working with the angelic hosts of light, and I would call to the angels to help me to master divine love, God love. And so that was just kind of a introduction to what we're going to do in just a few minutes. Now, did you know we have a shadow side? Anybody kind of think that maybe duality would bring out a shadow side in us, polarity? So one of the reasons that we have a shadow side is because we have agreed to integrate and bring the two sides into oneness or unity. Being here is all about unifying, integrating as one. And so that's the real task. The work that we're doing is we're taking the shadow side and we're not judging it. We're not against it. We are grateful for the experience of the shadow side, because once you experience what you don't want, nobody has to tell you what you do want. You know what you want. You know what your choice would be, because we are free will beings and we're on a free will planet. And I was surprised to learn some planets are not free will. This is a gift to be here on a free will planet, although there's not the chaos and confusion on the planets that don't have free will. Things are very orderly and automated. And we've all done that. We've all been on those planets and we've gone, ho hum. Now there's gotta be more. And so we're here because there is more. And the more is the duality, that is a polarity, up, down, happy, sad, good fortune, bad fortune. And our goal is to be the observer rather than experiencing it and holding on to it. It's real human to hold on to things.
We don't attach.
Right, we don't want to attach, but we acknowledge, if you look at the next chart, this is the order of the day in clearing up the shadow side. So, on the 12 o'clock line, in September, I am working on cleaning up criticism. Can you see where I am on chart number 12? Criticism, condemnation, judgment, and black magic, setting spells. When I think negatively about someone, my mom said, you're giving a spell to that person. and I didn't even know her. I was just saying she had skinny legs. And my mom said, you don't need to be saying she has skinny legs. You need to be seeing her in the Immaculate Concept. And I said, what is the Immaculate Concept? She said, it's the way the Creator sees her. And I went, we need to have a talk. She has skinny legs. If you could give her some muscle. But she was really pretty. And, but we were, you know how insecure you are at 15 and 16, and I think 17 I got better. But there's an insecurity where you kind of tear somebody else down to build yourself up. And she would say to me when she'd catch me doing it, we'd be in a carpool, and there were 3 of us, and we'd be talking among ourselves, and we'd hear from the driver's side, we'd hear, is that JCC? And everybody'd get real quiet. And I'd go, oh guys, it's judgment, condemnation, and criticism. It's on the 12 o'clock line, and they were like, Greek to me. But it was a good learning experience, and she would help to alert us when we were moving an ego and when we were giving our energy to the perversions, because we didn't come here to do that. We came here to transcend them, to overcome them, to identify, hello, I recognize that. That's an old pattern, 600 lifetimes ago, and I'm ready to get rid of it. Thank you for serving. I understand and have gained the wisdom. My new choice is peace, love, joy, whatever your new choice is. And would you please more? Because we can't destroy our energy, but we can change our energy by making a new choice. So here we go. This is the heart of the soul's journey. So it looks like this. During the month of September, I am tested on being after my husband. Little tiny things will irritate me no end. And when I feel the irritation, I go, we're in September. This is September testing for me. And so I can then call to the great divine director, who, by the way, was the mentor for Saint Germain. And Saint Germain ascended, he made it. So I figured, good teacher. So I called to the great divine director to help me to move out of the energies of condemnation, criticism, judgment of myself, of others, of what's going on in the news, the world scene. No more condemning, judging, criticizing. So then they have these pictures of criminals that they put on TV and say he's been arrested for blah, blah, blah. And I'd say to my mom, now what do we do with that? And she'd say, you go, I am forgiveness, acting here, casting out all doubt and fear, setting men forever free with wings of cosmic victory. I said, that must be the Immaculate Concept. She said, no, that's the violet flame, and you need to use it to move the shadow energy out of your being, out of your consciousness. So what's happening in October? I'm being tested on hatred, mild dislike, and witchcraft. And I'm going to call to beloved Saint Germain to help me to transmute that energy. And so once you're aware of where your tests are coming, aren't you more likely to be prepared and pass them? That was my thinking. I was like, oh, right, where are we? What month are we in? What energies am I working with? So it works both ways. Mother would say, both oars in the water. You want to call to those who are helping you. You're being mentored by these beloved beings. And at the same time, you want to put those perversions into the violet flame so that you can transmute them, change them back into divine love, if that's October. Now, let's take a look at figure 13. Figure 13 will have a figure 8 flow in it. It'll look like this to me. She went to a class where there were no page numbers. And if you need to, we'll give you this set of records. Now, study that for just a minute. It involves our chakras. It involves the rays. You found it.
That's me.
Very good.
Is that it?
No, yeah, that's it. You're right. That's it. It's just not in color
Okay.
so much. Alrighty. Now, figure 13 represents the chakras of the 7 rainbow rays. The 7 rainbow rays are our divine blueprint for the chakras. Everything comes out of purity and balance and harmony. So the divine blueprint for the base chakra is white. The 4th ray is white. And so I've got a chart that'll track ray 1, ray 2, ray 3, 1, 4 that's coming up. So we'll know which rays affect which chakras. But the divine blueprint looks like this. If you'll bear with me for a minute, because I didn't print a visual of that blueprint. But the base chakra is white. The next chakra, seat of the soul, is violet. And it carries an energy of compassion and mercy. The base chakra carries the energy of harmony, balance, and purity. Now you come to the solar plexus, and it is a real deep purple with ruby and gold flecks in it. And when we come to the heart, there are 4 colors and there are 9 chambers. But I just think of it as pink. Pink is one of the 4 colors, and it's easy. Now when we come to the throat, we're at indigo blue. And then when we come to the vision center, we're at green in the divine blueprint. And then the crown is golden, golden yellow, illumination. So we've got illumination in this chakra. We have vision and clarity in this 3rd eye, or I like to call it single eye. Because when I say 3rd eye, I think of a cyclops. I don't like to be thinking of myself as a cyclops. So I go single eye right here, green. The healing ray is green. The Christ consciousness is the gold, the crown chakra. And so those are 2 beautiful colors. Mother decorated everything in early American, green and gold. So I grew up in green and gold.
Did you have one?
And I didn't realize why she decorated everything in green and gold. And she didn't either, until she started learning from the Ascended Masters that green was the healing ray and that gold was the Christ consciousness. So I just thought that was a gift to be able to be absorbing those qualities as we were growing up, because there were a lot of us. Mother had 6 children and she married a man who had 5. But we only had the 5 on the weekends, the extra 5. So it wasn't like it was a full house all the time. But you can imagine that would drive you to spirituality. If you have 11 people on the weekends in your house, you'd be going, ooh. But she did make it look easy. So the chakras of the 7 rainbow rays, the 7 rainbow rays refer to the divine blueprint for our chakras. So if you're doing a chakra meditation, now you have a choice. You can work with the divine blueprint, or you can work with the traditional, according to evolution, which was red at the bottom. And we're not against red, but red represents fear. It represents survival. It also represents devotion, and deep love can be colored red. So you've got that choice. And orange was the next one in the traditional. And so when I share, I put the 2 side by side when I do the Reiki 1 class. I'll put the 2 side by side and say, nothing wrong with doing the traditional, but it's more satisfying to do the divine blueprint, because that's what you're going to outpicture. And we do a chakra workshop, which takes you through each one of the chakras according to the Ascended Masters, what their colors are, what their qualities are, what their sounds are, what their positive life lessons are, when you're moving in a balance in that chakra, here's what you'll be expressing. When you're moving in an imbalance in that chakra, this is what you'll be expressing. So it was kind of paint by number. You could tell real easily, where do I need to put some energy? Where do I need to work on myself? And that was, the remedy was right there. Here's what you have to do to balance that chakra. So now we've got the 7 rainbow rays, and then we have the 8th ray, and the 5 secret rays are also charted on the cosmic clock. So here we've got the alpha thrust with the 7 rainbow rays. Then when we come around, we have the 5 secret rays. You can kind of see them in the inside. 7. Do you see the secret?
Why does she use that word secret, do you think, Jen?
It means crystal, but back
Okay.
then in the 70s, they wouldn't tell us. It was
Oh,
crystal.
okay.
We were told it was the secret rays. And then 30 or 40 years later, this book came out. It was called Predict Your Future. And I'm at a conference in Montana, and I'm looking at the books they have for sale, and I'm thinking, I've got that one, I've got that one. And then I go, Predict Your Future, I don't have that one. I've got to get that one. And then understanding the cycles of the cosmic clock. Well, when Mother came home, she had little cassette tapes where they recorded a class lesson. And the only visual she had was what she put on fabric. And she colored them and everything. But what I love about this book is it goes into so much more detail. What I'll do and share with you tonight is a lot of introduction and get you started, so that what I'm hoping is I will canalize you into wanting to read the book. But it's not an easy read. But it's worth it. I'd have to read it over and over and over. But what I love were the visuals in the book that helped us to understand the soul's journey. We are on the soul's journey. It doesn't seem like it's fair to be on a journey you don't know about. But you do know at the soul level. So the soul is guiding you. So you can trust that you're on the right path as long as you're following your intuition. You're following the guidance that you're following what feels right for you. Because I don't know if I've heard it 100 times or 1,000. Mother would say, nobody knows what's right for you like you do. Watch what the peer group does, but stay with what you think is right for you. And so I thought about that sometimes. No, that doesn't feel right for me. I'm not going to that LSD party. I did go, and they had no dignity. I did go to one LSD party, and they were dipping their fingers in Kool-Aid, and they were doing that on the wall, and then they were oohing and eyeing as it dripped down, and I went, I missed the movies. I didn't get it. And then I was in the kitchen, putting some glasses I'd washed up in the cupboard, and there was a peanut butter sandwich with a big bite out of it, sitting in the cupboard. And I thought, somebody must have thought they were putting it away. But anyway, I loved being able to say, nobody knows what's right for me like I know. And after I saw the peanut butter and jelly sandwich in the cupboard, I said, we gotta go. I'm not opening any more cupboard doors, and I don't know how much Kool-Aid they have left. But they're not drinking it. But it was good back then to be able to be free enough to say, this isn't for me. This doesn't work for me. Now, if you look at the trines, what you're seeing in the bottom 4 charts, those are triangles of initiation in the 4 elements, the 4 signs, the fire, the water, the earth, the air. So, at any time, Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo being the fire sign, we can have a minor challenge or test or opportunity in the trines. And then you'll see the air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Now we know what the air signs are. There will be an initiation. An initiation is an opportunity to go to the next level. An initiation is passing a test. An initiation is saying yes. It's stepping forward into an experience that changes us. Initiations change us. So now we've got the water sign initiations and the earth sign initiations. But my favorite thing on this page is in the very center of the figure 8 flow, which is the threefold plane anchored in the back of our heart. Love, wisdom, and power. And it is still called the secret chamber of the heart, the 8th ray chakra. So now let's take a look. Does anybody need a break? What time are we?
Turn up here.
Oh, very good. Oh, I thought that was something other than a clock. I didn't look at it. I just saw it up there and I thought beautiful against the yellow. Now, what we're looking at is how to transcend. When we study what our tests are, where we are, it helps us to know how to transcend. And the goal here is we're on the Omega return. The Omega return takes us home. So the goal here is full source energy. That's what we're returning to. Our home is no limitation, unlimited potential. So as we look through this a little bit, you'll get a little background on the list. I'm on this right here, the PowerPoint. So I want to kind of move through these, the PowerPoint pages, so that you can get an idea of what's going on. So in the sports slide on page 1, as God is, we are. God is ever transcending. We are ever transcending. And it is the cosmic clock, the soul's journey, that is doing that with us, for us. So first question we're going to ask and answer is, how does transcendence work? How do we receive divine consciousness? You're going to love it. It's simple. Why the eternal rounds of cycles of beginnings and endings? Beginnings and endings. Why? Our soul defined. How is the cosmic clock derived? And then the chart of our cycles. So you kind of know how it was derived from the very beginning today. So let's look at how transcendence works. Divine consciousness is ever expanding, and it's beckoning us to assist with that expansion. It is stepped down successively in 12 measures of the cosmic clock. So here's the one I'm on. Would you just love a unit that's together? So you don't have to look for everything. Forgive me.
Well, I was going over it with the kids last week.
Very good.
This class.
Were they fascinated?
Give them a
by it?
little, thank you.
Yeah, heads up.
Yeah.
Very good.
I
So
don't have-
we've got 12 measures on the clock, and that is the consciousness of God being stepped down in each of these measures. And as we go through the years of our life, each year, one of the divine qualities, and I'll show you that in a minute, is being mastered. So we not only have all 12 in a year that we're mentored in, but we have one each year that is predominant. And so they're 12-year cycles. That would be 12-year cycles to get through all of those 12 measures. So now you understand 2 cycles, right? One is the monthly cycle. I love that. the creative monthly cycle, where my mom used to say, new baby bed every month, there are no hand-me-downs. I like hand-me-downs. So what you do is divine energy being stepped down from the etheric level of God's being to the mental level, to the emotional level, and finally to the physical level through the 12 hierarchies of the sun, and they surround the great central sun. Are you familiar with the great central sun? Does that mean anything to you? The great central sun is the sun behind our sun, and there's another sun behind the great central sun that we know of. And it's all stepping down energy of the divine. Now, these 12 hierarchies are cosmic beings, and what are they doing? They're ensouling each of the 12 measures or positions on the cosmic clock. They are ensouling each one of the divine virtues. We are being mentored in the consciousness of each of the divine virtues. That's the cosmic clock. We're being mentored in those qualities. So if we look at how do we receive divine consciousness? Through release of light. As we invoke light, as we call upon light, as we move in an energy of light, the divine consciousness is releasing that light to us to outpicture who we really are. So, release of light occurs in cycles. Our entire universe is built upon cycles. These cycles can be charted, moving clockwise always around the 12 measures or the 12 positions of the cosmic clock. Now, our daily lives are run by cycles also. A light bulb shines because electricity is pulsing at a cycle of 60 times per second through the filament. That came from the book. I had no idea how that worked. The cycles of our heart's pulsations are the beat of our physical life, sustaining our vehicle, the vehicle of our soul's evolution in matter. Light releasing cycles can be charted, moving clockwise around the 12 measures or positions. Any questions so far? That was kind of clear, pretty easy. But if you're being introduced to it the first time, you're going, let me read that again. Because it was like, this is so new to me. How do we receive divine consciousness? Another way. The Creator is originating the cycles. The Creator is the driving force. Creator uses the law of cycles to help us transcend, to move to the next level. The law of cycles uses a mathematical formula for spirit to cycle through matter and matter to cycle through spirit. I love that. That's what's going on here. So that's why this figure 8 flow on that last page on here, it had such meaning to me because I was seeing spirit cycling through matter and matter cycling through spirit. That figure 8 flow in that one. It had great significance for me. It made it relevant. Now, the law of cycles has a formula, and we're going to see the formula for we're just going to do 2 formulas, but there are some more. Mother brought me the apostles charted on the clock, and I never have I like the mentors, but she said, you can call to these apostles. And I said, well, which ones are ascended? Those are the ones we need to call to. Do you know St. Jude was the first one to ascend? He felt so bad. He had such regret when he was able to see that what he thought was adding money to the treasure, and Jesus picks the ear up off the soldier who had it cut and puts it right back on. So he didn't think that Jesus would let him crucify him or take him. He figured, God's got this, Jesus has got this. And then he took the silver, or the 30 pieces of silver, he identifies who Jesus is, and Jesus surrenders. And his world turned upside down. And he was in great regret. And so his next lifetime, he cleared everything up. He focused on what he had learned, because this is being taught in the schoolrooms at night when we go to sleep. We can learn the cosmic clock. There are all kinds of things being taught to us. when we're in our etheric body and out of our physical, mental, and emotional body, we go to school or we do mission work. Whatever it is we choose. And so now you know, you can do a review. Just say to your angels and guides, please help me get to that class where they're teaching Mother Mary's cosmic clock. And they'll help you do that. So the law of cycles is infinity tumbling through finite coils of time and space. How poetic. Why the eternal rounds of cycles of beginnings and endings? Don't you kind of wonder? Wasn't once enough? One beginning, one ending? And so the law of cycles implements the law of transcendence. There is always more. We will never be done. Are you okay with that? We are always going to be expanding, and then we will have a period where we will be internalizing, we call it contraction, or we call it the in-breath, where you move back into bliss. But it can take a little bit of time. If you live to be 100 years in your physical body, then you become formless when you leave your physical body, unless you take it with you. You can clean everything up and transmute all the things that hold us to the earth, just like Jesus did. It's not a mystery. The Ascended Masters have told us how we can do it. And they're saying, if you want to complete the wheel of birth, life, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth, if you want to get off that wheel, you have to do just 3 things, maybe 4. The first one was you have to clean up 51% of the shadow side. And from the other side, formlessness, you can clean up the rest. But 51% has to be cleaned up in the place it was created. So now this is what Mother brought home. And I laminated it, but you can still feel the fabric. It was a little big. But I'll pass this around because you might enjoy looking at it. If you'll take a quick look at one side of the chakras, as she was teaching, where the chakras lined up on the cosmic clock, and the other side is the apostles. And so I enlarged this one chart so that I could focus on the divine qualities rather than, I know the perversions, because we're hardest on ourselves usually. So I knew ingratitude and the opposites of the divine qualities. So I liked blowing this chart up and keeping that handy. But when you first begin, it's good to take that 3rd page where it's got both the perversions, and let's talk about what are some of the remedies. What can we do to remedy the situation of the perversions? And the perversions.
Jen, can I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
You didn't complete your thought before the break. You said there were 3 things, maybe 4 to do.
Good, thank you. This is important. The Ascended Masters are saying balance your shadow side, bring it in, 51% has to get cleaned up. So you bring that into balance, as if that's balance. And there are people who clean up 75 and more. And so I asked my mom after she crossed over, I said, how did you do? Because she did a lot of violet flame. I said, how'd you do on cleaning up the shadow side? And she said, I still have a little bit of laundry. And I said, how much? Because that's what she called the work she had to do was just laundry, not anything that bothered her. And she said, a pair of socks. And I went, and she is coming back. She let us know. She wants to go into the golden age. And we have seen what she looks like. And she's coming back as a masculine energy. And when we saw her, she had a yellow t-shirt on and green shorts, and there was this station wagon with wood. You know, the old-timey station wagons that had wood? That was over here, and that represented the vehicle. And then she was running toward us, and her face was her real face, we knew. But it was a boy, a little 6-year-old boy.
Was that in a channel?
No, that was in a meditation. But yeah, that was kind of a channel, it had to be. Yeah, I forgot. Now, look at,
And the second thing was?
oh, thank you. The second was
Information.
balancing the threefold flame. Love, wisdom, and power, you must bring into balance the divine qualities. And the reason you have to bring them into balance, if the blue power is way high and the wisdom is low and the love is low, you're going to be vulnerable to greed. You're going to be vulnerable to abusing something, an animal or a person. So you call to balance the threefold flame. And the Ascended Masters come and help you. And then you are aware if you're starting to move into the imbalance of pink, yellow, or blue, there's a sense of, no, that's not right. I'm not going to do that. Like if you're tempted to steal money, there's a lot of money and you're tempted to steal it. If your threefold flame isn't balanced, or if you're on drugs, you might find that you create a lot of karma on the love. There's lack of love there. So some of that you're going to have to clean up. And then the power, that's an abuse of power. You have the ability to take that money. Not a good idea. Now you have to clean up that abuse of power. And how about love? How loving is that to take from someone? So, but if you can remember to call to balance the threefold flame, you're not tempted. You soar through those tests because you don't want an imbalance. You don't have a need for taking from another. So that's important. Okay, I have to finish that thought. First was clean up the shadow side, then balance the threefold flame, and then accomplish the reason you said you were coming. All of us have a mission. All of us have a divine plan. If we balance the threefold flame, if we clean up the shadow side 100%, but we don't accomplish what we said we would do, we get to come back and accomplish that. And the reason that's not my choice is because I create more karma. I bet you I'd get back here and I'd have to start learning these things, and I might not learn them fast enough, and I might create more karma. So I'm going, let's see what we can do to win the victory in this lifetime. And so I'm asking for 20 more years. Now look.
What's the fourth one?
Oh, there was a fourth one, and I'm trying, it had to do with the unity consciousness, moving into a consciousness of unity. And that is not a hard, fast requirement, because it's gonna happen. You're gonna move into, what's gonna do it is the sun. The sun is going to move us into a consciousness of unity. So, does that make sense? Any questions on?
The flash, is that the flash you're talking about?
Yeah, the solar flares. It can be Kundalini energy too. A lot more people are experiencing that. And I explained when light touches non-light, it changes it. And she went, so that's what happened? I said, probably, that's what happened. And you have set certain milestones, certain, like Hansel and Gretel left the crumbs along the way. We've done the same thing. We've left little reminders, we've left experiences or books or people in our lives to move us in the direction that we choose, that we said we would go in. So now on this 12, I thank you. Isn't this something? Now, on 12, there are 4 types of aggressive mental suggestion and the human perversions of the God consciousness of the 12 solar hierarchies. So I thought that was the first time I'd ever been exposed to malicious animal magnetism, ignorant animal magnetism, sympathetic animal magnetism, delicious animal magnetism. And when I learned that, I went, all right, I'm ready for the remedy. What do we do now to get rid of all of this? So I'm going to stick this here and go back to page 3 where we're looking at tools and knowledge. The science of the clock gives us it's on page 3 on the bottom left. The science of the clock gives us the tools and the knowledge to pass our tests and our initiations under the hierarchies of life. It explains the law of karma and how karma is made when we misuse the energy we're given. Every day at 6 o'clock in the morning, wherever you are at 6, you receive a flow, a nonstop divine flow of energy according to your capacity to receive it. As you go out throughout the day, you're qualifying that energy that is divine energy that we're receiving. How do we qualify the energy? Any ideas on how we qualify energy? We can qualify it with our thoughts. That puts our stamp on that energy. So skinny legs was not a good stamp, not good. And then not only our thoughts, but our words, and then our emotions and our feelings. Difference between emotions and feelings. Emotions, energy and motion, are to be managed and controlled. They don't last unless we put our energy into it, we massage it, we focus on it, we obsess on it. If we don't do those things, then 17 seconds, we're into a different emotion, we're into a different thought. So energy and motion is to be managed, but feelings are to be listened to be honored, to allow ourselves to be guided by feelings. That is a God-given tool, our intuition. And I know some people will say, I don't know if I can trust my intuition. Work with it. And you'll see that you can trust it. So, where was I going with that? How we qualify energy. All right, thoughts, words, feelings, emotions, actions. Our actions qualify our energy. Now, what's happening is we will either qualify the energy according to the divine qualities or according to the perversion. Now, as a conscious competent, you can ask, what happens if I qualify it according to the perversions? It gets heavy. The perversions are heavy energy. It gets caught in the electronic belt. It starts at the navel and it goes down below the feet, and it's in 12 segments. Ring true? If I misqualify energy on the 12 o'clock line, and I move into hatred, condemnation, well, hatred's over here on love, but I move into condemnation, criticism, judgment, then that energy gets stuck in that segment, in that 12 of my electronic body. So it's a very clear and easy science to follow once you know all the rules and once you know the tools. But important is how we qualify the energy. Now, if we qualify it positively, according to one of the divine qualities of God control, God gratitude, God love, then the energy is resonant with our causal body. And I didn't have scissors, so if someone would like to help me cut out some of these, I want everyone to go home with this picture of the divine anatomy, our divine self. And you can get an 8.5 by 11 picture of this if you go to the internet and you put in TSL. TSL stands for the Summit Lighthouse. And the Summit Lighthouse is just a resource of the Ascended Master teachings. And so, thank you so much. And so, knowing that we have a causal body, the causal body is at the top of your chart. So I'll explain it. Do the bigger ones. The ones, yeah, that one last. Yeah, those I got. The printer, I said, can you do 4 on a page? He said, sure. And he brought them back and I went, well, can we make them bigger? And he said, sure. So what we're doing is moving energy. We're at all times moving energy. As we qualify that energy, remember that figure 8 flow? that's on that page with the rainbow rays and the secret rays are the crystal rays. And there are 5 crystal rays, and they're in our hands. For those who do healing work, the crystal rays are in your hands and your feet and your heart. Now, if you qualify your energy according to divine love, it goes into the pink sphere. Your causal body has 7 spheres. And those 7 spheres match the colors of the divine blueprint of the 7 chakras. It is the Elohim, the plural, Elohim, that gave us those qualities, those divine qualities. And so, depending upon how long you've been qualifying energy, you can have a huge causal body. And that causal body is a bank account that we can access whenever we are involved in a project that is uplifting, that is our mission, our divine plan being fulfilled. That's our bank account. So, I thought that was kind of interesting. There's our bank account. Okay. Now, we're never meant to do this alone. That's why we have mentors. Sometimes ego would make us think that we should be better than we are. We should be able to do this by ourselves. But that is not the way it was set up. It was set up so that when the veil dropped and we moved into amnesia and we didn't remember all the things that we're learning over again, remembering over again, that you wouldn't be the Lone Ranger, that you could call for help. We have celestial parents. We have a celestial feminine and a celestial masculine that have pledged their attainment. They gave collateral, a certain amount of their attainment, for us to succeed. So, it is their desire that we call upon them. Because divine forces that seek to assist us cannot unless we call upon them. We got to do our part. But that's not hard. Calling upon them in the name of the beloved, mighty, victorious presence of God, I am in me, my very own beloved Holy Christ self. They're charted on your chart when you get one. And you can see how easy it is to call upon those energies. Andy, I wish we could do a good job of sharing that with you. So picture 7 spheres above your head. And they are the blue sphere, the green sphere, the yellow sphere, the white spheres in the middle, and you're going to have a violet sphere. Those colors of the chakra surround you in these beautiful spheres. Now on your chart they look like circles. They don't look like spheres. But in 3D they're spheres, spheres of light. So some people have very generous bank accounts. You can ask, what color is most developed in my causal body? And your guides and angels will give you that information. So let's look at the chart. Here's the causal body at the top, and the electronic belt is not shown here, but it's shown in here, and it is the ugliest picture I've ever seen. You don't want to see it. It has monsters and snakes, and it looks like a witch's brew in there. It's not pretty, and so I don't show it anymore. I don't want to pull it out. But anyway, it starts at the waist and goes below our feet, and it's as big as it needs to be. And what we're doing is every time that we turn to the light, that we invoke the light, that we make a choice that is according to our divine plan, just highest and best choice. Because sometimes the best choice isn't the choice you want to make, but you make the highest and best choice with what you've got to work with. So you make the best choice, and that expands that sphere that energy is related to. So you can ask, and I did, I said, now, where am I missing out? Where am I not very developed? And where's my good energy going? And for me, I have the blue and the green equal, and they were the biggest. And guess what the littlest one was? Yellow. The wisdom ray was the least developed. So that's why I ended up with the parents that I ended up with, because it was part of my divine plan to address that. And so I was gonna need to be with someone who could tutor me in truth. And my mom's name was Ruth, and we used to tease her and say, all we need is a T in front of your name. Because she was always evaluating everything, was it true or not? And she would say, don't say, be good. Because when my kids were little, I'd say, no, be good. And she'd say, tell them to ask if it's true or not. And I'm like, I think they're too young. But that is what her teaching for me was, is it true? Does it ring true? Is it what's right for you? Because it may not be. Even though it looks like it is, somebody told you it is, you have to figure this out. But the way she'd get around it is I'd say, now if you were me, what would you do? And then she'd tell me, if she was me, here's how she'd handle it. And I'd go, oh, okay. Now, in the very middle is the divine monad, and around it is the yellow. And I have been told I had 2 lifetimes in China where I was denied knowledge. I was seeking knowledge, I wanted knowledge, and it was denied. So this time, it isn't denied for any of us if we're seeking it. So that's how I landed in this incarnation, in this time, going into the Aquarian age. So now in the very middle is your I am presence that's individualized according to you. And then it's also connected to the universal I am presence. And then you've got the colors that match your chakras. Isn't that kind of fascinating? Creative. So I'm back on page 3, and then you see the step down transformer. No, I'm not back on page 3. See the step down transformer? That is like the great central sun, the central sun, our step down transformers. The I am presence is a step down transformer from the universal, and then your holy Christ self is the middle figure, or it could be your guardian angel, or it could be a Buddha. I love the picture of the Buddha, but I didn't think people were ready for handing them the Buddha in the middle. Because the Buddha is equal to the Christ. It's the same level of attainment, it's just Oriental rather than Western. Did you know they're the same? I thought the Buddha was less. I thought, oh, Jesus is better than a Buddha. And then I learned, where'd you get that? Now, the human is at the bottom, encased in violet flame. And the violet flame is the remedy. The violet flame is sacred fire. It is divine energy that is mercy and compassion. That's how it's qualified. And it will clean up, it will realign situations, and it will be a big help to you. I do have a piece called What is the Violet Flame and How Will It Help You by Patricia Diane Carter-Robles. So if we have time, I'll give that to you. But what I'd like to do is invite you to come to the website, A New Day Studio, and we'll put all of this online. And because you sat through 2 hours of trying to learn it, she'll give us a code and she'll send you an email and say, here's the code to access the things that were covered. And so you'll have what is the violet flame and how can it help you. And then you can share it. You can copy it. You can enjoy it. So that's my goal, is to share. Because Mother told me, she said, now, this was given to you for re-giving. And I thought, who am I? My peer group was not interested in the cosmic clock. And she said, well, it'll unfold for you and you'll share it. You can share it with your children. My children were interested in athletics. And my husband was like, I'll wear the colors of the day, because you're gonna see on the chart, Monday, we're being mentored in divine love, so we wear pink. Tuesday, we're being mentored in proper use of power and faith, and so we wear blue. Wednesday, we're being mentored in healing, science, and truth, so we wear green. And I had somebody say to me, I had green pants on and a green jacket, and the person said, I left my green suit at home today. And I thought, I must look like a clown to him. But then on Thursday, you wear violet, because that's when we're being mentored in that energy. Any color of purple will work, but that's that administration and that service energy. Friday, we wear white because we're being mentored, and you don't have to wear all white, although I like all white, but it's a lot of laundry. So I might just wear a white scarf, less laundry. But white is Friday's color. We're being mentored in balance, in purity, in harmony. Saturday is the violet flame of compassion and mercy. So it's violet again, any shade of purple. And then Sunday is illumination. So we wear some form of yellow on Sunday. And then if I'm ever sharing or teaching, I'll try and wear some form of yellow to attract that energy of illumination. Not just for me, but for the people that are willing to receive. And so now you know. Let's find that chart, because it's 8:45. Turn to page 17. See the quick reference chart. And it is, and you can blow this up. I had it blown up pretty big in my closet. So line number 12 on the clock is Capricorn. And then Master working with us is the Great Divine Director. See, the God aspect is power. And what chakra is the crown chakra. I'm going to put another chart on the website, which will do the days of the week and the color. We'll expand it just a little bit, so you can relate to when you're being mentored on those qualities during the week. So that's another cycle. We've got 7 days of the week cycle. We've got 30 days of the month cycle. We've got 12 months of the year cycle. Then we have our years. And all that's explained in your PowerPoint, how to do that. So do you like having a chart where it takes you through the 12 lines of the clock, and then it takes you through who's on that line? Did you find it okay? Good. And then it takes you through who is your mentor, who's your teacher, and they're working with, they're not doing it alone, like St. Germain works with the angels, and I love that. And then the God aspect that we're being mentored in, and the chakra that we will be working on at that time, that we're on the 12 o'clock line. We're working on illumination, wisdom. So does that give you a little more clarity? And then there's a quick reference chart on the misuses. And I put them side by side so that you can look across, but don't focus on the misuses. But you'll know them, they'll come to you. So on the 7th line, we've got ingratitude, thoughtlessness, and spiritual blindness. So we're going to be tested on whether or not we're open to receiving truth when we're on that line. Spiritual blindness is where we feel like we know it all. That's my teenage years. All right, now you see the misuses. Did any of that surprise you? Any of the misuses? You're good? Now, this chart that I have down here on the bottom with the black on it, it does have, but you can't read that. You'd have to have a magnifying glass. So we'll put that chart on full 8.5 by 11, so you can see it. It's meaty. It's got a lot of good information on that chart. Now, let's look at how you chart where you are on the cosmic clock. So we're going to go to the example, I'm looking at 14, page 14, let me look at 13. 13 starts with our alignment. Did you know your sun sign is your destiny pattern? We should look at that. And the divine plan pattern, the overall ruling consciousness of the individual. Is the sun sign important? Yeah. If we are aligned with our God self, it will be the divine aspect of our sun sign that will manifest. If we are aligned with our human self or our lower nature, it will be the lower aspect of our sun sign that will manifest. Or we could get a combination of the two. So now look at the personal clock. Each year, from one birthday to the next, we're under the hierarchy of whatever the line of the cosmic clock that we are on. And it will change on the date of your, like I'm born September 7th. So October 7th, I move to the next training. And then October 7th, I chart, and I'll show you the chart. All right, so for example, now this is for your years. You can chart both your years and you can do your birthday. So let's look at the years. For example, at age 24 years old, we're on the 12 o'clock line because we've been around twice. We've been around the clock 12 for the first 12 years, and then 13 to 24, we did it again. And then if you look down here at the bottom, on the left, we do it how many times? If you count out, so I'm 70, so let me find 70 on this chart at the bottom. Let's see, 77, 76, 75, 3, 72, 71. Good, I like where I'll be next year, beloved Maitreya. All right, I am this year, 70 is on the 10 o'clock line. So, all this year, at age 71, that's when I'm being mentored in and taking the classes in and being tested in this year. Now, can you find where you are on this chart? So you'd start with going around 12 times, and then you'd move to 24, which is above the 12. Going around 12 times, then you'd move to 36. Go around 12. Can you find it, David? It's on page 13.
Yeah, I have it. I was trying to correlate to this one.
Where you are and who's working with you.
I'm working it.
Who am I accountable to?
That's right.
And who do I need to call on? I grew up in that age of the Ghostbusters, so I almost wanted to title this study, Who Are You Gonna Call? Because this tells you who you might call. Anybody finding their age where they are now? What line of the clock are you on this whole year?
6.
6 for you, the very bottom of the alpha thrust. Next year, you'll move into the omega return. Mother used to say you have to garner enough energy on the alpha thrust to move all the way back home. And I said, well, what happens if I don't? And she said, you won't make it. You won't make it back. You'll leave. Oh, let's take a look at the omega return. Let's see what happens. That explained a lot of things to me. So-and-so left. Nobody taught them about alpha thrust. Do a good job on this side, and this side will take care of itself. So, now did you find, anybody having trouble finding where they are right now?
I just can't see where 63 is because it looked like
It's
68.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Very good, it sure is.
Thank you.
But where do we find our line there, and then where do we look?
When you find what line of the clock you're on,
Yes.
that's what you're being taught all year till you move to the next year. So you go to the 3 o'clock line on your cosmic clock, page 3.
Figure 11.
Yeah, go to figure 11, and there's where you are this year. This whole year, until you turn to your next birthday, that mentor, that group is working with you.
Okay.
So you're
one-
not alone. But they cannot help if we don't open the door and say yes, if we don't call it out. Did that give you some clarity? Did that help? So, Andy, we can help you after class class?
Sure.
So you'll know, you're what age,
interested.
Andy?
Ma'am,
What age are you?
29.
I love it, 29. So 2 times would be 24, 25.
5.
You guys are quick.
Yeah.
I have to follow the dots, connect the dots. So, are you pleased to know what's going on in your life? This is all behind the scenes. But once you know about it, and once you make it your own, you become a conscious competent, it's not behind the scenes anymore.
Conscious competent.
We start out sometimes, if you come in on the green ray, which is the healing ray, you'll be a competent, but you won't understand, you won't be a conscious competent. But as you are exposed to the teachings and given the tools, you become a conscious competent, and now you can share. You can help others to become a conscious competent. So we want these to be on the website so that if you move, I get this sometimes, people call me and say, we moved, I lost such and such. Can you send me such and such? And I go, okay, we got that. Now, let's look at how we chart the monthly cycle. Cycle of the months is on page 14. Does everybody know what year they're on and what they're working on this year until your next birthday? What divine quality are you working on?
I'm on 10,
Good.
so. What am I look for it on here? Vision.
Page 3. It's good.
My vision, okay.
Okay, I always go to page 3. And talk about living in the now. This is living in the now. This is what's really happening in the now. So, line number 3 shows Helios and Aries and God control. So the constellation did you see that? Did you see what I got? But I'm on page 14 and that chart's on page 14. So that's how I got it, page 14.
And what's that chart number?
Look at page 14 with me on the bottom right-hand corner.
My other packet has different numbers.
It's okay, if you find a chart with the 12 hierarchies. Yeah. What, did you say you were on the 10 o'clock line?
No, on the 5 o'clock line.
All right, 5 o'clock is Almoria, and it is the Gemini constellation, and it is God, wisdom. You're probably soaking like a sponge, everything you can that's wisdom when you're on that 5 o'clock line. So this is, if I gave you a one-page chart like that, it'd be quicker and easier to find. So we'll put that on the website to make it easier. Now, yes,
I have a quick question. The page that we left, it said the 4 root races. I see that stated. Tell me your definition of that.
we are one that will have a golden age. There have been golden ages before, and only 3 of them sustained and are still golden ages ongoing.
So they consider those, or who
But the
termed
root
that?
races, we are one of the root races, and it says 4 early root races, so we're the 5th root race. Does that make sense?
Well, yes.
You're
in
wondering what is a
counting.
root race?
Right. What is the definition to you, and
It's
where does
a
it come
wave of
from? Okay, waves.
beings. It's a
Okay.
wave of souls.
All right.
That's a
So
root
that's a
race.
70s term because root and race.
And
I
there's
don't really
7 root
races.
races. There's 7 root races.
Okay.
South America is where the next root race will flourish out of South America.
Are you saying race like this?
No race like white race, black race,
All
green
right.
race.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So twin souls descending from the twin flames of their I am presence ascend back to the fiery core without creating the electronic belt. We are the ones who created the electronic belt. The other races did not. The soul's journey reveals to us the shadow energies lurking in our unconscious. That's why we're not always aware it's in the unconscious. We're waiting to be transmuted into light and transformed into our most powerful gifts. So that's why we don't judge the shadow side, because the very things that are shadow now will be our attainment.
And the fifth wave is what's
We're
coming,
the
we're,
fifth- we're the
we
fifth
are,
wave.
okay, we are the fifth wave.
Sixth root race is coming in South America, that's the sixth. I need to look up seventh root race, I don't remember all the details on that, but I'm gonna try and stay focused on the cosmic clock for a minute
Yes,
more.
yes,
But I do love this, and so I put it in here. This truly is a path to our enlightenment. You know what cities are, don't you, where it says in here, we're going to transmute those dark shadow sides. They're going to be transformed into our most powerful gifts and ultimately to cities or divine essences that are the core of our soul. And this is remedy, this very last one, where we say we may use the power of our words in decrees, affirmations, prayers, and mantras to draw the essence of the sacred fire from our I am presence, top of the chart, our Christ self, the mediator in the chart, and then cosmic beings. Cosmic beings would be so many cosmic beings. We call upon them all the time. The ascended masters are moving into being cosmic beings, but the great divine director is a cosmic being working with us. So we can call upon cosmic beings, but if we know the name, like I was really excited to learn the names of the alien, because when I learned about, I think the one that I liked the most was Hercules and Amazon. Those are the alien. If something is really hard to do, I'll say it's a Herculean task. I need Hercules. And so you can call upon them. And if you use their name, they're able to give more, to do more, to be more effective. If I just say, I call to all those serving on the violet ray, they come, but it's not the same as if I go Saint Germain in his divine complement Portia, Holy Amethyst, and Zadkiel, Arcturus, Victoria, all those that we've learned. And do you want to know where I learned? What ray they serve on in all of this? Masters in their retreats. This book is lifelong learning for me. I pick up things in this book that I decide to have a grand adventure and go to their retreat. They all have retreats. And if you want, you can say to your guides, I would like to go to the retreat of Serapis Bay. Serapis Bay has an ascension seat. I just read about it. I can go and sit in that ascension seat and it will change my frequency. I can start healing in the etheric body. And what's changed in the etheric body, that finest body, falls away in the mental, emotional, and physical. It can't sustain if it's not in the etheric body. So I recommend 2 books to you, really a third one. It's called Bringers of the Dawn. It's a PDF online, and it's talking about the multidimensional merge that we're going through right now. And it's in an axiotonal alignment where the veils are so thin that we are accessing all that we are in the other dimensions. And it can be crazy making. You can be hearing voices and you need to ask your guides to kind of moderate that and give you some space and some sanity. And we have people that come to us and they tell us stories about it's nonstop. And I go, oh, you're in the multidimensional merge. It's an axiotonal alignment. There's a really good book on that. It's called Bringers of the Dawn. And it's a chapter in the book called Bringers of the Dawn. And it's by Barbara Marciniak. And she put it online as a PDF. So you can read it online. Wisdom is out there for us. She channels the Pleiadians. It is the Pleiadian training that she's giving you in that book, bringers of the dawn. And what she's telling us is we are the bringers of the dawn. But it's getting dark and it's 9 o'clock. So what I want to take real quickly through is if you would take a chart, I know it's in here, but I'm going to quickly do it with you. Let's take this chart. What would be nice is if you would put your birthday on the 12 o'clock line, and then
Which one?
the 12 o'clock line, we always start at the top, and we always start with 12. 12 o'clock is completion.
Which figure are you looking at?
10.
I'm on any one of the 12, and you can do any chart,
Okay.
but this one I've got the person who's mentoring us, the constellation they're working through, and the divine quality. This chart is really the heart for me, because I don't want to focus on the shadow side, but I will address it, and I'll put it in the violet plane. So, see the 12 o'clock line? That's where I would put September 7th. That's my birthday. October 7th goes on the 1 o'clock line. November 7th. So see how you bring your birthday all around. Now, if you just tuck this into a corner somewhere, you might forget. But if you put it up on a wall or on a board, every month you'll feel the energies changing. You'll feel it. Once you're aware, about 3-4 days before the 7th of a month, I'm aware things are moving differently. You had a question?
Yes, so when you're looking at that previous one where you're seeing, okay, you're going through and you're finding your year.
Good.
Okay, so I know that my year is 6, right? Okay, but then when I'm looking at this, 6 is that my main year
All year long.
work on goal?
Yeah.
But then each month I'm also
You
going
took a
through
class.
these cycles.
That's right.
Okay, okay.
So you've got 2 sides. Is that clear how that works? And then I never work with the trines, you know, the little tiny ones that you saw on the graphics. It's just too much for me. I'm doing well just to do the month and the year.
So it's not like it's not your birth, so it changes on, say, if your birthday's on the 24th,
Yes.
then it changes on the 24th. Okay, I was thinking it was like the whole month of, okay.
Now you've got a whole month until you get to the next month on the 24th, and then you change.
Yeah.
What do the
But
February
not-
29th people do then?
Oh, that's a good
Are they like another set of special folks?
They are the advanced souls who come in and go, put me in, coach. They do double duty.
Okay.
Wow.
And when I read about that, I was so happy. I was just September 7th. I could do September 7th, but you are doing a lot more. And look, you married
He's May
someone
tomorrow,
who's-
17.
Congratulations. So I am so grateful that you listened, that you came, and you seem so attentive, and I appreciate it so much. So I know it's the bewitching hour, so I thank you for your attention, and I love sharing this with you. There might be something I could pass around that would give you a clue. Mother created for me, every time a baby was born, she'd send me their chart with their birthday all around and their name at the top, so I know when they are being tested on certain things. And so I thought that was good. I copied some of these things that I wanted to give to you, so I'll put them on the website, but let me give you, let's give this to who's not here. Let's do that one, and we'll give them a chart.
Well, like you said, Jennifer, I'll bring all the students that missed to your next
Okay,
class.
that'll work,
Yeah.
and we'll have it on the website. Was it a little overwhelming?
I liked it.
It was. Is it still overwhelming?
Only a little bit, not as bad as it was the first time around.
Yeah, the first time I turned.
This
you
is
were
fascinating, I'm just gonna say that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
overwhelmed, overwhelmed.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
The remedy if you want to use a call. Here is a call called Cosmic Cycle Clearance. And this is calling on the mentors to overcome the shadow side and to take on the divine qualities. And it is interesting. It is 3 pages, and I printed 14 of them so that you wouldn't go home going, well, what do I do about the shadow side? So if you'll take one and pass it on, and it's 3 pages, so I'll just peel off 3 and pass it out. 1, 2, 3. Oh, look, they separate. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So keep 3 pages.
Oh, keep 3 pages?
Yeah, keep all 3 pages.
Oh, I see what you said.
That's your, don't pass a single page, keep all 3 as a packet. Yeah.
You're getting one?
Did everybody get 3
We
pages?
live in the same house, so
Okay.
most of the time I claim him.
Now, saying this is protection. It will change your frequency, because you're calling, now, Om Mani Padme Hum Om,
Yes.
that means you're calling to the jewel in the heart of the lotus, and that is Guan Yin, Mother Guan Yin. There, that's one of the explanations. So everybody got one of those. And if you have a 3-ring binder, it'll be easy to keep up with all this. Here's one too I'd like
So
to.
for example, so if I'm, let's say just on the, I'm gonna make it easy on the 12 o'clock.
Uh-huh,
For the whole year, I'm using number 12 on here.
yes,
Until
That's
the
your
next year,
birthday,
then after
yes.
1 o'clock, I'm using the next one. At the
Yes,
following
yeah.
year,
the
okay,
following year, you move to the divine quality of love.
okay.
My favorite is obedience. All right, this is a prayer that will change your frequency if you like it, and it's the ritual of the atom. So this should meet in the middle.
Is this 2 pages?
Together.
Yeah, keep them together.
Both, you want it?
There,
Yeah.
Keep passing.
yeah. So let's take just a minute, once everybody's got one, and let's end there. Does that, no, okay.
I got 2 of the same.
So the atom goes there.
Someone must have to.
Keeping up with this is a 3-ring binder.
We're supposed to
I'm
have,
missing.
That's correct.
well,
Yeah, so
somebody needs to
I got 2 of the
get,
same. I must really need to learn something about
Do
You
you.
you
need
have
a
Mother Light?
you don't have Mother Light.
Yeah, let's
Mother
give you
Light.
Mother Light. Pass that around
Thank
to
you.
Tanya. We want you to have, but I love the ritual of the atom because it's the creator increasing awareness of self in you. You don't have one? We do now. And let's find the Mother Light.
Is there an extra mother light out there, or? Everybody good?
I think that's true.
Actually, I do.
Now, does everybody have one?
You can take that one
Good,
back.
good.
Good.
Now, the ritual of the atom is our way of bringing into our everyday life. Too much?
I just gave the same one back. I thought I was giving the extra.
Time, yeah.
Oh, which one?
Isn't this fun? Let's do it again.
I'm impressed that you're keeping up so
It'll be taken a
well.
minute.
with this. But look, it says, we are the coordinates in time and space for release of what the Creator is doing. Think about that. Now, let's together do the Mother Light. It's real quick. I'm gonna sit back and let you guys say it together now, listen. Together.
O
Mother
light,
arise.
O mother light, ascension fire, O kundalini rise. From base to crown, each channel cleanse, your flame now purifies. O currents of your crystal stream, intensify within, accelerating sanctity, each sharper glow and spin. O mother light, ascension fire, O kundalini power, from base to crown, irradiating light, expand this hour.
Isn't that cute?
Beautiful, powerful, Jennifer.
Mhm. It's a favor. So, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's a good way to end.
Yes.
Thank you. So now the work begins.